Hello, how are ya? Welcome back to the Kill a Bit of Time podcast. What's in today's episode, I hear you ask? Well, if you're interested in improving neurological behaviours, stay tuned. What were you pissed off about 3 months ago? Take all the time you need, and I'll take all the time I need as we dip into a new feature I'm gonna call Bath Time Revelations. If you're interested in eucalyptus oil and gladiator sweat, then stay tuned and listen to my ramblings on today's episode. Well, here we are again. Thanks for listening. I've been rattling through my short-term goals, my short-term plans recently. If you're a returning listener, you'd know that I've been setting myself these short-term goals. One of which was making fudge. I've ticked that box off. I've got the hang of it, so I'm going to make some for my old man for Christmas. He's got a bit of a sweet tooth. He'll love a bit of fudge. So that's that done. I set myself the task of learning a bit of Mongolian throat singing, and I've sort of got the hang of that as well. I think there's some more work to be done there, but in terms of getting the hang of it, you know, as a short-term plan, I think I'm there. So I find myself searching for another short-term plan. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm sort of doing now. I'm still cracking on with the Mongolian throat singing. I've been showing people at work where I'm at, you know, and but it's just one of them where you look weird, don't you? If you start busting out the old Mongolian throat singing at work, people have something to say. Usually it's like, they say stuff like, "Do you realise how odd you look whilst you're doing that?" And I'm like, yeah, I do know. I've recorded myself, I've taken videos of myself doing it and sending it to my mates. I'm fully aware of how weird it looks, but that doesn't put me off. I don't care what you think if I'm looking weird, which is weird because sometimes I do care what people think about me. Other times I just couldn't give a shit. And sitting at work in the office is one of those times where I don't give a shit. I know most of those people quite a long time. I could be myself quite comfortably, and I can happily just bust out a bit of Mongolian throat singing. And the good thing is, it's a little bit like if I first started in a workplace, I would be very cautious about being myself straight away. If I just started in a new place, if I just was around a load of new people and I was myself straight away, people would be like, "Who the fuck is that mental weirdo over there acting weird?" So you've got to ease yourself in gradually, don't you? And I think a lot of people are like that. They've got their little polite self that they present to people. They act. Everyone's got an act they put on about how can I be me? How can I be a pleasant version of myself that's not out of the ordinary, just a standard me? And then the more comfortable you get around people, you start stretching the boundaries of how weird you can be. And at work now, I've managed to push it about as far as I can go. I can get away with some pretty mental stuff now, and people don't bat an eyelid. And that's a good place to be. But also, it's a bit dangerous as well, because when you've just got carte blanche to just do whatever you want, people won't say to your face, like, "Why are you acting weird?" Because they're used to you acting weird, which means you've got no reflection of your weirdness. You can just be as weird as you want. No one's going to tell you you're acting weird, which means you've got no sort of marker to gauge yourself off. So you just like, sky's the limit at that point, unless you really like start testing like social, things that you just shouldn't do socially, like strip bollock naked and run through the restaurant. I think there's boundaries where people will turn around and say stop, but I'm not at that point yet. I'm at the point where I can sit in the office and quite happily bust out a bit of Mongolian throat singing, and I'll take the odd comment on board. So one of the comments is, "Yeah, do you know how weird you look whilst you're doing that?" The answer was yes I do. The other person said, "What's the end goal? Like, why are you doing this? What do you hope to achieve from learning this strange, niche little skill there that has no sort of practical application in the Western world whatsoever? Why are you doing it?" And it's just like, I try to explain to them, it's not really about what I can achieve from it. It's just the process of learning it that I'm enjoying. I'm quite musical anyway. And once I've learnt it, I'll feel a sense of accomplishment. And they were like, yeah, but why? What are you going? Why? They just didn't understand why. They're like, out of all the stuff you want to do, you want to learn that. And I'm like, yeah, it's different, isn't it? You didn't even know about it before I told you about it. Most people, before I bust out a bit of Mongolian throat singing, I ask them first. I say, have you ever heard of Mongolian throat singing? 99% of the time, they say no. What is that? And then I'll show them a video of what it's supposed to be like. And then I'll show them where I'm at, which is never as good. And they most of the time they don't really get it. But I live in a world where it is a bit weird. But in previous circles I knocked about with, it would have been normal. When I was at uni, I'm knocking around with like hippie types and just smoking a bit of marijuana and things like that, where we were just like knocking about in the fields, playing the didgeridoo and like chanting. It would have been totally normal. But now I'm living fully in a capitalist system, like fully. I'm enveloped by the Western world. I have entered normality, as in inverted commas. And most of the people that I work with, most of the people I'm knocking about with at work, they're into what you'd expect: football, going out to the pub, girls like going to shopping. They're all big into social media, and all stuff like that. But my life was never like that growing up. Like all the like the 18-year-olds I work with in that, because I work in a holiday park, right? And it's a lot of people's first job when they're 18. They go and work in a holiday park, and a lot of them, they don't get up to what I got up to when I was their age. So there's not a lot of relatable content there that I can talk about with them, because we haven't got that much in common at all, other than work. I haven't got that much in common with anyone, which is a good place to be. That's why I like it. But anyway, I've got the hang of the old Mongolian throat singing, but there's still some work to go there, and I intend on continuing down that little path and seeing how good I can get it. But how would I get onto all that? Oh yeah, so I need there's space now for another short-term plan. And so I'm not going to pressure myself too much, but I'm keeping my eyes and my ears open for something else that pricks my little interest up. I'm currently doing like a Bond binge at the minute with my missus, where we decided to watch all the Bond movies from start to finish. But I wouldn't really call that a short-term plan, because it's leisure, isn't it? It's not like you're not creating anything. I think to have a short-term plan, you've got to either learn something or create something. For me, anyway. So I'm not classifying that as a short-term plan. And the Bond binge is quite a good and fair arrangement of leisure time for me and my missus, because I like the older movies and she prefers more modern ones. So I'm loving it at the minute, because I'm watching Doctor No, I'm watching Thunderball, I'm watching The Man with a Golden Gun. But as soon as it gets to sort of Pierce Brosnan times, that's where I start losing interest. So I've got a good load of movies to get through before we get to that point. The Roger Moore era, I've got all that. So I'm secretly hoping by the time we hit the end of the Roger Moores, she might be like, I'm bored of Bond now. And then I've got to watch all the ones I like before getting onto the Daniel Craig bullshit. But anyway, we'll see how that goes anyway. If you've been listening to previous podcasts, you'll know that I've been working on my stress response in stressful situations or everyday situations, which just causes me stress. I whittled it down and realised I'm quite stressed a lot of the time. It's something I need to work on, having more patience. And it's been going quite well, to be fair. It's I've been sort of, because I've recognised that and I'm intentionally trying to work on it. I've noticed that I'm becoming less stressed so regularly. Like the other day, I was doing something menial, and I got stressed doing it. And I was like, I haven't been stressed doing something small like this in ages. And it just made me realise, this work I'm doing on myself is helping. It is. Because I can't remember the last time I got pissed off doing this little task here. And when you try to do something again and again, like for me, trying to recognise when I'm having a stress response and trying to mitigate that with, psychological tips and tricks, the more you do that, the more it becomes like an automated process in your brain. So if something stresses me out, I'm automatically trying to not let that affect me. And the more that I do that, the more that I automatically just don't get affected by things that are usually stressful. It's really good. What's helped recently is the old Inuit thing that my mate told me about, where it is I'm just not reacting. I'm just making myself not react. And it's not bottling up. It's just having a control. It's just having control over yourself and not reacting in any way. Even though you're feeling stressed, it's just taking a minute, feel the stress, but don't react to it. Because there's nothing wrong with feeling stressed. But as the Inuits know, having emotional outbursts isn't really something you should be proud of as an adult. You should be able to contain that and control it and manage it. So I've been working on that. And the more times that I successfully don't react, then the more often I don't get that stressful feeling in the first place. So it is definitely working. And it's just made me think like it's good to try and have little goals and targets to improve yourself, because it does make a difference. For me, I've tried to work on my stress and I'm seeing results. Although I have had a little bit of a stressful situation this week, where it's a bit of a weird week for me. I'm recording a podcast on a different day. I'm recording the podcast on a different time of the day. Everything's all higgledy-piggledy. And it's because I've had a bit of a stressful week. And I've, most of the time, kept myself quite calm, cool and collected. But at one point, it was just too much. Just to give you a bit of a background, I work in one of the best holiday parks in the company for my company. And because of that, the people who develop the menus come to my kitchen. They come to my kitchen to develop the menus for the following year and for Christmas and things like that. So they come in. They're my bosses. So they come in and they give me a hard fucking time. And they nitpick about stuff. And it's annoying because I'm not used to answering to people in my kitchen, because I've been running it for so many years. I'm not very good at taking criticism from anyone about my operation, especially when I'm the one who's been doing it for the last 5 years. These people who come down from head office and they start picking and pointing and making little fucking remarks about stuff. Why don't you come and do a couple of months in my kitchen, then try and point out that same stuff again? You wouldn't. You know nothing. Basically, they come in, and there's one thing I'll just highlight. There's several things that pissed me off, but there's a couple of things that tipped me over the edge, and I'll let you know briefly what it is. Christmas Day, they try to cram as many people into the complex as possible. This year, they're trying to triple the amount of people that we're serving. They haven't changed the price in the last 3 years. They're refusing to up the price on Christmas Day. They're still charging $49.99 for a 3-course plus champagne, and I think that's an absolute steal. So they're trying to pack it out, and it's just like, hang on a minute. It's my Christmas Day too. I want to see my little girl. Why are you trying to drag my fucking day out? It's not like you're making that much money on Christmas Day anyway. We've got loads of people in there, all on double pay. Why are you trying to stuff another fucking 400 people through the door and make me and my team hang about from 8 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night? It's bang out of order. We're usually out of there by 3:30. Anyway, all this is going on in the background. And then, as well as this, they're coming up with these fucking stupid ideas. We do a roast dinner every Sunday. And then they turned around and said, by the way, you're going to be doing a roast dinner on a Thursday as well. I said, are you fucking taking a piss? At that point, I was like, right, enough is enough. And I said, are you trying intentionally to fuck us in the ass? Because that is what you were doing. That is what you were doing. And then they're like, oh, just be positive. No. There's a time and a place for being positive. And that's when we're doing it. We have to be positive as possible then. But whilst you're coming up with these ideas, this is the time to be real. Let's take our little reality goggles and stick them on for a second, and then we'll take them off and put our positive goggles on afterwards. I'm sick of that mentality. It's just like, oh, just be positive about it. Yeah, just being positive about something doesn't fix the situation. You can't just keep piling shit on us and go, oh, if you're just positive about it, it'll be all right. It'll help. I mean, you can have a smile on your face whilst you're getting fucked up the arse, but at the end of the day, you're still getting fucked up the arse, aren't you? Smile or not. So it just annoys me how they're trying to make life unnecessarily fucking difficult for us during our busiest time of year. That Christmas is our busiest time of year. Nobody's going out anywhere. The weather's shit. Half the places are fucking closed out and about. Okay, there's activities going on all day fucking long in the complex, and it's just a captive audience. They're in there. It's going to be absolutely slammed. Why are you putting out these shit ideas? Why are you doing a roast dinner on a Thursday? And anyway, all this just tipped me over the edge, and I lost my temper at my bosses. I told him that. I said he's trying to fuck us up the ass. And I said, well, I'm out of here. I'm out of here now. I'm going home. I said, I'm going to go spend time with my daughter now because I ain't going to have much time to do it over festive, am I? And I just fucking stormed out of there. You know what I mean? You shouldn't bow down to these fucking pricks just because they're fucking from head office. I mean, they're going to be sitting with their feet under the table on Christmas Day. And on top of that, you should make your opinions be heard, because if you don't, they can turn around in the future and they can say, well, nobody raised any concerns. Well, guess what? I fucking raised a concern. I raised a concern. So they can't turn around and say that I didn't. But anyway, other than that, I've had a pretty bliss little week. And yeah, because of my success in not getting stressed out over little mundane situations like I used to do way more than now. And I've got these little systems in place to help with that. And I'm seeing results. It's made me think, what else can I overcome? What else can I improve on? And there's one thing, and it's that sometimes I trick myself into feeling negatively, into having negative emotions sometimes. So what will happen is I'll have a negative thought. It could be about anything. It could be about something someone said to me about 3 days ago, or it could be something I did in the morning, or it could be about something where I felt like I've been cheated, or or it's just something to piss me off, or something I've done wrong, or something that's caused wastage in the kitchen, anything. And it causes me to have a little negative emotion. And then what will happen is I'll forget what that thought was. I totally forget what the thought was, but I'm still carrying the negative emotion along. And I'm like, I'm pissed off. They're like, why? I can't remember. They're like, it can't be that important then. I was like, it was. It really annoyed me. I feel annoyed now. What was it? And my brain wants to remember what it was that pissed me off in the first place, to sort of justify why I'm feeling negatively. When really what I should be doing is just forgetting about it and carrying on and just forgetting about it. Because that thought, why would I want to think about something again that caused me to feel negatively? And like people said, it can't have been that important. And if it is that important, I'll think about it again and it'll piss me off in the future. But for some reason, my brain, well, after it forgets about it, wants to revive that little negative thought again. And I just need to, when that happens, I need to get better at moving on and forget about whatever it was that left me with echoes of negative emotion, which is sometimes difficult to get out of. Sometimes you can just carry that on with you. Have you ever woken up at like 5 o'clock in the morning with worries, or just pissed off about something, or concerned about something, and it keeps you up? And sometimes you wake up in a bad mood because of all these worries you've been having, and not that you can remember what any of them were, or you might have even gone, it's not that bad, those thoughts. But because you've been dwelling on stuff for hours and hours, even if your thought patterns changed and you're thinking about what you're going to do that day, you're still carrying on the emotion. The emotions echo on and you carry them with you. So I need to get better at controlling sort of the content of my thoughts, because a lot of the time they can just do what they want. They're just running rampant in there, thinking about whatever they want to. But if I have more control over what I'm thinking about, because what you're thinking about has a direct impact on your emotions, then if you can control what you're thinking about, if you can control the contents of your thoughts, then you can then control your emotions as a result of that, because it has a direct knock-on effect. So I think I need to get better at not dwelling on negative thoughts, not trying to revive them, and trying to have a better control over the contents of my fucking brain. Because if you leave your brain to do its own thing, it sometimes latches onto little negative thoughts. Like last night, for example, I just watched a really good documentary on what's it called? that was it, Chernobyl. It's like a 6-part documentary on Chernobyl. I realised how old I was getting because I was just sitting there watching a 6-part documentary on Chernobyl, and I loved every second of it. And when I was going to sleep that night, I started to get pissed off because I was thinking about Christmas and these fucking idiots making stupid, dumb decisions. And I felt myself getting pissed off. And I was like, right, don't think about that. Think about Chernobyl. Chernobyl was making you happy. Just think about the nice Chernobyl documentary. And I was thinking about, about all the weird little interesting bits where where Russia managed to make the clouds rain radioactive liquid all over Belarus. And I was thinking, yeah, that was weird. And I was sort of like content and happy thinking about Chernobyl. But then my brain kept on thinking about Christmas again. It's like, why does my brain want to think about something that's irritating it instead of thinking about something that's causing it to have like nice little endorphins and dopamines releasing? So it's like that. It's like I need to train my brain to think about stuff that makes me feel good. Is my next little challenge for myself. And the reason I've got faith in this challenge is because I don't remember what I was pissed off about 3 months ago. I was being pissed off about all manner of things 3 months ago, but I can't remember what a fucking single one of them is. So how important was it? Because I'm sitting here right now, I'm in a good situation. I feel good. So whatever the fuck was causing me to be pissed off 3 months ago really wasn't important. Just like whatever causes me to be pissed off inevitably later on this afternoon where my brain thinks about Christmas is not important. And I need to have that. I need to have that sort of control. I need to be able to embed that philosophy into my brain. I get it sometimes where my missus, she's worried about something. And to me, it's like I can see that that's a silly worry. To me, I wouldn't never say that it's silly to her. But I can see that it's just not a worry that's worth worrying about. And I say to her, I said, in 3 months' time, you're not like you're not even going to remember what this worry is. So why bother wasting time on this worry? In 3 months' time, you wouldn't have a fucking clue. Just like you don't have a clue what you were worried about 3 months ago. So just think of it like that. But it's always easier giving advice than listening to your own advice, isn't it? So I need to get better at that as well, listening to my own advice. And that's my own advice. I'm giving myself some top tier advice there. I'm giving myself advice. I'm going to try and listen to myself. That's my brain. That's my brain telling itself how to deal with stuff, which is weird. If my brain is telling me how to deal with emotions constructively, why is it trying to keep thinking about Christmas instead of Chernobyl? But anyway, I'm going to continue on with my sort of semi-part-time plan. It's a part-time plan where I'm getting into baths. And I've recently, really invested in having some top-tier baths. I'm going to have one after this podcast, actually. And I've recently got some oils I got from the shop. I got some eucalyptus oil. I got some lavender oil. And I got some ylang ylang. And I'm going to sit in my bath. And I'm going to sit there and let my brain do its thing. I'm just going to let my brain off the leash for a bit and see where it wants to go. I'm taking my brain for a walk and I'm taking the lead off. Because last time I did this, my brain took me on a little journey. And that's what I'm going to share with you now on my next feature, which is called Bath Time Revelations. And the jingle goes a little something like this. Bath Time Revelations. So I've been having more baths recently in a way of, first of all, just to try and de-stress. Second of all, just to get my head around having a bath and what's it all about. You know what I mean? I've always been a shower person and I want to know what it is to be a bath person. And so I had a bath last week and I was just sitting there. I was sitting there and it was really hot water and I was like, I can't bring myself to lie down. It's too hot. And it's like a mental game, innit? It's like, right, I can lie down. I can physically lie down if I want to. It's just that it's going to be incredibly shocking when I first do it. And it's an uncomfortable kind of shock. It's illogical shock as well. You're not going to burn. Your legs are in the water. So it's not going to burn. You're not going to burn. But the reason it's difficult to lie down is because your brain's telling you You're getting burnt by this hot water. Don't do it. Abort. That's what your brain's telling you when you begin to lie down in this incredibly hot water. And I think I did have it a bit too hot. But they always say you should have a hot bath, innit? So I was just thinking to myself, part of this is, can I overcome this? At the end of the day, it's a mental obstacle, isn't it? I thought, yeah, I can. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it at the count of 3. But the problem is I couldn't bring myself to count to 3 because I knew at 3 I'd have to do it. So I couldn't make my brain count. I was like, for fuck's sake, so the obstacle now isn't lying down. The obstacle now is counting to 3 in my head. That's now the obstacle. The obstacle's changed. And I thought, all right, this is getting ridiculous now. Just fucking count to 3 and lie down. So I did it. And I lay down, and it was a bit shocking, but it's never as bad as you think it's going to be in your head. It's like when you go into the sea, innit? It's never as bad as you. The anticipation is worse than the act itself. So anyway, I got over that little mental barrier. It took me about 4.5 minutes, and then I was lying down in the bath, and I was quite enjoying the sensation of the heat and the bubbles. And I was looking around for the little bath bomb I put in there. I couldn't find it. I was just looking around for it, and as I was doing this, I just got me thinking. I was like, right, I'm going to lie here and think and try and relax. And I started thinking about eucalyptus oil. I was thinking how good this would be great if I had some eucalyptus oil, which I do now, but I didn't then. I'm about to have a bath with some eucalyptus oil soon. And it's because I started thinking about it on this bath I had earlier this week. I started thinking about it and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some. That's going to smell nice. And then I thought, I'm a bit ignorant about eucalyptus. I don't know a lot about it. And I'm trying to learn a lot more now. I'm trying to reduce my levels of ignorance. So when I think of something that I don't know a lot about, I'm now trying to intentionally do some research on it to try and better myself, and try and increase my knowledge, reduce my ignorance. And, first start, all I know about it then was, it grows in Australia. There's big forests of it. Koalas love it. And they use the oil for all sorts of stuff, like baths, congestion, anti-inflammatory, muscle and joint pain. It's good for your respiratory system, all of that. But then that's about all I knew about it. So I thought, right, after this bath, I'm going to get up and do some research and find more about it. Found out more about it. And I did. And so what I did was I did a bit of digging. And what shocked me was, or what I didn't know before, is that the eucalyptus trees, they want to be burnt down. They're like suicidal, almost. Sorry, I'm just going to have a sip of my old brew there. They've got a symbiotic relationship with fire. They've evolved to be like pyromaniac plants. And I'll explain to you why. Right, these eucalyptus trees, their little leaves there, they're full of the oil, the eucalyptus oil that you hear of, which is highly flammable. This highly flammable oil in Australia, one of the most, the hottest countries on the planet. And so not only do they have these volatile leaves full of highly flammable oil, but their bark is evolved to shed. It sheds its bark regularly, and it's all peeling off, and it's falling onto the floor below, and it's extremely flammable as well, like kindling. It's like perfect kindling. So you've got little leaves full of flammable oil and kindling just sitting below. And then the reason that they've evolved to be so fucking flammable is because the heat from fire. So when there's like a big bushfire in Australia, it wipes out like forests of fucking eucalyptus trees. The fire stimulates these dormant buds deep within the eucalyptus trunk. They don't get destroyed. The trunks are very good at resisting the heat, and what it does is the heat just stimulates these buds to grow, and that's how they sort of reproduce. And not only that, but the fire, it kills off all of its competitors. Sort of plants that don't get on well with fire. The fire just destroys it, and they ain't going back. But the eucalyptus trees benefits from all these competitors getting wiped out. And that's why they want to be set into flames. But so it's sort of like nature's worked it out for them. Nature's gone, right, this country is well off. Okay, these plants here, they need to benefit from this amount. How can they benefit? And they realised, nature's realised that at some point, these bitches are going to go up in flames. So nature sort of evolved alongside the hot country and these plants, and they're benefiting from being set ablaze. But the only thing I can't work out what bit of the puzzle doesn't fit into this is koalas. Where does koalas come to it? Because koalas are native to Australia and they fucking love eucalyptus. A lot of koalas, it's 90% of their diet is eucalyptus. And the weird thing is that the koalas have evolved alongside the eucalyptus trees, because eucalyptus oil to most other mammals is toxic, so they don't eat it. If they eat eucalyptus oil, it will kill them. But koalas, they've evolved to be able to tolerate this toxic oil, which is eucalyptus oil, and they love it. They eat loads of it. It's their main part of their diet. So, but the bit that doesn't fit in is what are the eucalyptus trees getting out of this? See, I think the eucalyptus trees see the koalas as a pest, because the koalas get wiped out in these forest fires as well, because they haven't evolved to be fast moving. They're very slow moving animals. They can't escape. So why have they not evolved alongside the fire, the eucalyptus tree, to be faster animals? Why are they so fucking slow? That's the bit that I don't understand. So nature doesn't work sometimes. Like, it's meant to be all that, the all great, all powerful, all knowing nature. You know what I mean? But sometimes it drops a bollock. Every now and then, we're all you say to each other, don't you? If you make a mistake, we're only human. Well, nature's only nature as well. I think nature makes mistakes as well. They're making slow little koalas. I think it's one of the great mistakes that it made. You know what I mean? Like, if koalas evolving to be slow is not a good evolutionary strategy, is it? It's not like the eucalyptus oil. It's not like the eucalyptus trees need help, because they're about to fucking go. They're just a ticking time bomb. They'll wipe out everything in their vicinity. They don't need help from nature to make koalas slow for them. You know what I mean? But anyway, got me thinking about drop bears when I was in Australia, when I first got there. Everyone tells you about fucking drop bears. You get there, and I was a little bit of a sucker for it, to be honest, even though I knew, like, there was a big bit of me that thought it was bullshit. I got there, my mate was telling me about drop bears. I was doing a little road trip. We were going up past Newcastle. There's somewhere called Newcastle in Australia on the east coast. And we were going up, and our plan was to climb this mountain called Mount Warning. It's not huge. It takes a day to get up. So when you get up there, you got to sort of camp overnight. But we didn't bring a tent. We just thought we just sit up there, because it's not very, it's not very. We didn't think it would be cold, but we were wrong, because it was fucking freezing up there. It was so cold up on the top of that mountain. We didn't predict how cold it was going to be. We thought, how cold is it going to be? It's Australia. On top of that mountain, fucking freezing. We had different weather up there. It was all like damp and cold. And when night hit, temperatures just plummeted. We were sat up there wearing the same clothes that we were trekking in, and we just had to sit back to back, shivering, waiting fucking daytime to come. And the only thing that got us through the night was this pack of biscuits. And we were like rationing it. We were like, right, we got one pack of biscuits. If we have a biscuit every half an hour or every 20 minutes, I can't remember how we worked it out. But we worked it out, and we were like, and then that pack of biscuits will last us till the sun comes up. And so that was our little strategy getting through the night. We were just sitting there, I'm just waiting for the next bit of biscuit. We're like, right, checking the time, right, 10 minutes, biscuit, and then wait again, and just shivering. It was a horrible night, horrible. But anyway, how do I get onto that? Oh yeah, so on the way up towards this mountain, my mate was telling me about drop bears, he said. I said, what are they? And he said, oh, they're like koalas, apart from they're a bit more vicious than that. And they're a bit more predatory little bears, and they knock about in the trees. And what they do is they wait in the branches, And then when some prey comes along, like a little turkey, because you get little wild turkeys in Australia as well, and little possums and things like that. Weird little wildlife they got. Anyway, these little drop bears, apparently, they hang around in the branches and they wait until their prey comes underneath them. And they've got these claws. And then they drop out the branches and grab onto it. And then they kill it from there. But every now and then, they mistake a human as a prey. He said they don't get you all the time, but it's something to watch out for. He's like going along with it. And I was thinking, I've never heard of a fucking drop bear. You know what I mean? And I've heard, I'm sure this sounds like something I would have heard about. So a lot of me was thinking, that's bullshit. But I was going along with it anyway because he wasn't breaking his act. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't smiling. Even when I challenged him, called bullshit, he was like, no, straight face, just carried on. Like he was really committed to this story that he was telling me. So I was like, all right, yeah, anyway. One thing led to another. Subject changed. He'd implanted drop bears into my brain and we moved on. And anyway, we were sitting there shivering on top of this fucking freezing cold mountaintop, waiting for biscuits. And then in the pitch black. And then I looked up at one point and I seen these fucking eyes reflecting down at me from the branches above. These fucking bright, round eyes staring down at me. And because I was in a bit of a fragile state of mind, because I was freezing my tits off, I was having a bad time. I wasn't happy. I was, it's not the best. It wasn't. I was having a bad time anyway. And then he'd implanted drop bears into my brain, which I dismissed as bullshit, but it was still in my brain. And then looking up and seeing these eyes looking down at me, and not being able to make sense of it, my brain, in its delicate state that it was, tried to come up with a reason. I tried to come up with your brain tries to figure things out, doesn't it, when it looks at stuff. So my brain seen eyes, couldn't work out what they were, instantly went, drop bear, and I just screamed. I let out an involuntary scream. I never heard that noise come out myself before. I didn't do it. I did, but I didn't do it. My body did it for me. And my mate just started laughing. He's like, don't worry, it's just possums in the trees. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I just really I felt like a twat, obviously. And then just got on with my evening, waiting for my next bit of biscuit to come along. But anyway, I want to get on to drop bears. Oh yeah, the forest fires, not being able to escape. The drop bears wouldn't have been able to escape either. I've seen a bushfire when I was in Australia. And it was when I was working on this banana plantation. And it was a pretty cool job, to be fair. It was just like in the middle of fucking nowhere. And I'd be, with all these other backpackers working on a banana plantation. The humpers would go off and get the bunches. They'd come back, would hang them, cut them off, chuck them in the water, and then it would get packed all on site. It would get picked and packed, ready for the supermarket, all in one day. And so I was working on there. I was back at the workers' barracks sort of thing. We'd go out and have a look around every now and then. And one of the times I went out having a look about, I seen fire, just fire everywhere. Not massive, it wasn't raging. It was just like a line of fire, just creeping along everywhere. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? I looked around and some people dotted everywhere as well. And I was like, what is going on here? Nobody seems to be panicking that the land is just on fire. And I went up speaking to one of them. And they were like, oh yeah, we're doing a controlled burn or something they called it. And it's what they do every now and then to prevent natural fires occurring and getting out of hand. They do these controlled burns and they set out a little perimeter and they set fire to the undergrowth and they just manage the burn. They sort of guide it along and it helps new shoots grow and things like that. It's not just the eucalyptus trees that benefit from it, I don't think. I think there must be others. But yeah, so they were just doing that. It was a cranky little place, this banana plantation and the workers' barracks. It was like you were separate. It's like you were separated from the rest of the world. And on one of my little excursions, I was walking around. They've got this lake right next to the right next to the barracks. And in that lake, they said there's 2 crocodiles. This was like northern Australia. This is when you start getting crocodiles knocking about. I never went in the water when I was in Australia. I've mentioned it before why I didn't go in the sea, but I didn't go in rivers or lakes either, really. I think there was one time when I was pissed I started swimming in a river. Other than that, I stayed well clear. Anyway, these the owners of the accommodation were like, yeah, take the boat out if you want. They've got this little canoe, this little kayak type thing. And I was like, didn't you just say there's 2 crocodiles in there? And they're like, yeah, but they're pretty placid. They won't hurt you. They won't hurt you. You know, take the boat out if you want. I was like, definitely not. You just told me there's crocodiles in there, and then said go and use the fucking canoe if you want. Obviously, I'm not fucking doing that, am I? On your word that the crocodiles are placid. How do you know? You go for a dip in there then. Have a swim around. There's no chance I'm getting within 10 feet of that fucking lake. No way. And he said if you go out at night time and shine a torch, you can see their eyes because they come out at night, hunting or whatever. That's when you see them. He said you won't really see them in the daytime. Take the boat out. No, I'm not taking the fucking boat out in your crocodile-infested lake. I'm surprised if anyone would. So yeah, that was that. And it's just in the middle of fucking nowhere. The only way to get alcohol, there was a town about, I think it must have been about 10 miles down the road. This small rickety fucking outback little fucking town full of your stereotypical fucking bogan type Australians. And like leathery skin, hats. You open a little saloon door, nobody says a fucking word to you. Anyway, I've always loved my beer. And I wanted some beer. I was like, I need to get some fucking beer. And the only way to get to this fucking town was by bicycle. Because it was early days, I didn't know anyone well enough with a car. Eventually I got to know this bloke called Zizi, this big Fijian fella who let me borrow his car. But in the early days, I had to borrow a bike. So I used to cycle with my backpack down this fucking scorching road with desert on either side, down to the little rickety little hickety town. And I used to get a crate of 24 VB, Victorian bitter, stack it up in my bag, and then cycle back. And it would take, a good few hours because I cycle back on these shitty little bikes they had on the barracks. It was real grueling in the heat. You just strapped another fucking 12 kilos to your back, and then you're trying to cycle on this shit bike down a long fucking road back to your fucking place. I tell you what, when you get back, you need a few of them beers to take the edge off because that was not a fun fucking journey. But eventually we started using the car and life became a lot easier. Anyway, that pretty much sums up whatever the fuck I was talking about there. But something else I was thinking about while sitting in a bath, after I got over the mental barrier of lying down in the hot water. Well, so after I did that, I lay there, trying to be a bath person. And I just lay there relaxing. And then I realised that I was just sweating. Sweat started dripping down my forehead because the bath water was so fucking hot. I made it too hot, I think. And I was just started to sweat, dripping down my forehead. And I thought the rest of me must be sweating as well. I can't tell because I'm in a bath. But I thought, I'm just lying there sweating right now. And then I realised, I was like, oh, it's like a sauna in a way. And it's like, maybe the point of this is to sweat. Because you're surrounding yourself with fucking piping hot water. 50-degree fucking water. And of course you're going to start fucking sweating. And I thought, maybe that's the fucking point. Is meant to open your pores and you're meant to just sweat there. Like you're meant to do in a sauna. And I had a little revelation there. And I was like, so you don't just lie there. It's not like you're not doing anything. You are doing something. You're sweating. And now when I realised that I was doing something, just lying there, it made the whole experience a lot more comfortable. Because the reason I haven't got on with baths in the past is, obviously, like I've said before, is once you wash yourself and done all your business, what are you doing? And then I realised I was doing something. I was like, I'm sweating. Once I realised I had a little job to do, I was like, right, my job is to lie here now and just sweat. I had a task to complete. I need to get out of the bath with less sweat than I went in with. Anyway, so I was like, I feel good now. I know what I'm going to do. And so I was lying there sweating. And it's got my little mind, let my little mind go. And it started wondering, I was like, I wonder if they've ever used sweat for anything. Because in the past, humans, they always use everything, don't they? Anything that's physical in this world, humans have found a fucking use for it. And I thought, I wonder if anyone has ever collected and used sweat for anything. Because they've used piss in the past, haven't they? I remember when I used to watch Idiot Abroad, that thing with Carl Pilkington in it. He went to India, and he went to visit this little Indian fella, and he was talking about this stuff called shivambu, and it's just piss basically, and it's this bloke who just collected his piss. He never flushed it down the toilet. He'd think it was a waste, so he pissed into bottles, he pissed into cups, he pissed into anything sort of container, and he kept it. And he said, "This is my medicine. This is what keeps me healthy," and he swore by it. And he said he had piss nose drops, he had piss shampoo, he had piss body lotion. He was just rubbing himself in piss all the live long day. It was covered. He must have fucking stunk, especially in that heat. You know what I mean? And then he had different gradients of piss. He was like, "This piss is 3 years old. This stuff's really good." And it was all dark orange. And yeah, he's like, "Oh, just do you want 3 drops under your tongue, and it helps get rid of illnesses or whatever." But it wasn't just the Indians. Loads of people have used piss in the past. The Romans, the Chinese, Egyptians. Urine therapy, it's called. It's not just the Indians. But it just proves my point, like that humans just at some point or another, it doesn't matter what it is, they fucking used it for something. So I finished my bath and I got out and I thought, right, I'll do a bit of digging. And I found out to be fair, it hasn't been used for a lot in the past. But in ancient Greece, what they used to do was they used to collect sweat from gladiators, and they used it. So they did use it for something. They used it then. I think that for some reason the Romans tended to be the one. It always comes back to them. But anyway, what they used to do was with these gladiators, they used to rub them down before a big fight. They used to rub them down with olive oil. They go out, make them look all shiny, and just send them off to battle. And then if they won, they'd get them in, and then they'd scrape all the oil and dirt, because obviously they get a bit of dirt on them when they're scrapping in the fucking dirt. They'd rub all the olive oil, sweat, and dirt off of them with this special curved instrument, this metal instrument. They'd scrape it all off, and they'd jar it, and it was called gloios, and it was gladiator sweat mixed with dirt and olive oil, and they used to sell it on the markets. And they used to use it for, obviously, like, the better the gladiator, the more you could fucking charge, innit? If it was the best gladiator winning all the fights, you can go, right, this is fucking Archimedes' fucking sweat or whatever. It's £10 a gram. You want some? And what they used to use it for was, like, aphrodisiacs, aches and pains, skin complexion, all that sort of stuff. So it was obviously bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just rubbing someone's fucking sweat and dirt on you. It's not going to do anything. But I think it's... a lot of it's down to placebo, isn't it? Placebo's a weird condition of the human mind. I might do a little podcast on placebos one day. So it is quite interesting. But anyway, I looked into it a bit more. And other than like research into illnesses and some weird fucking art exhibitions, that was about all I could find on the uses of human sweat in history. So I think we can box that one off as a useless resource based on my investigations. If that's the best humans have come up with in all of history, I can pretty much box that one off as we don't need it. You know what I mean? So yeah. But that pretty much sums things up for today. So my next plan is to focus on controlling the contents of my fucking brain. Because you can control the contents, control the emotions. Has a knock-on effect, as well as seeking out another short-term plan. Because like I've said, I think we should always have something like a short-term plan, a medium, and a long-term. My medium-term plan is this podcast. My long-term plan is a book. My short-term plan is vacant at the moment. I mean, I'm going to still, practice things that I like doing, but I want to learn something else. I want there to be something new to excite my little prefrontal cortex there. And, I'm going to carry on watching the Bond series. Someone told me something interesting the other day, and I looked it up, and it is true. In all the, on like Amazon Prime, or whatever sort of place you're looking at, you're watching this stuff, all the like little James Bond thumbnails, they've edited the gun out of it. So he's just standing there like holding nothing. They've edited the gun out. They haven't edited the gun out of the rest of the movie, just the thumbnail, as if people are going to look at the James Bond thumbnail, and they're going to go, I really need to do a shootout. I'm itching to fucking shoot up a school now. I've seen James Bond holding a gun. It's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't work. It wouldn't work. It makes no sense. People can go and play Call of Duty all day long, but they're not focused on anything like that. Not that I think that has an impact either. It's just that I really don't think seeing James Bond holding a fucking Walter PPK or whatever it's called is going to make a fucking difference either. Definitely not. And anyway, it doesn't work because it's like when you're a kid, it's if you don't want them to use something, just like society, right? What they're thinking is, we don't want people to use guns. We're trying to put people off the use of guns. So we're going to edit the gun out of James Bond thumbnails, and hopefully that will help. That's the reasoning behind it. But it's the same as like if I don't want my daughter to use a phone, because nobody wants their kid to be obsessed with fucking screens today. So, but we use phones as adults. So if I've got my phone there, and this is the equivalent, right? She sees me with my phone and I hide it. I'm like, no, you can't see that. That's going to make it like a taboo, isn't it? And that's going to make it more of a mystery. That's going to make it more enticing. Hiding it away. Oh, what's that? What have they edited out of James Bond hand? Interesting. It's going to, if anything, it's going to increase people's interest in guns. It's going to do the opposite effect. Like with my daughter, with her phones, right? We're not giving it to her, and with little like games on or nothing like that, or flashing lights. We're not encouraging the use of screens at all. But if she gets her hand on our phone, we're not like, give it here. We don't like snatch it off her. We don't like panic and like try and get it away from her, because then that creates a taboo, and then they're going to want it more. If you just act like it's nothing, like it's just nothing. If you're not interested in it, neither will they be. They're only interested in stuff that you're interested in. It's like with the washing up. We do the washing up. You have to do the fucking washing up as an adult, don't you? But she sees us doing the washing up, and she thinks we're doing it because it's like a game for us. She thinks we're playing the best game ever because we're always doing it. So she thinks that must be fucking awesome, whatever they're doing there, because they're always doing that. I want in. She'll come and like tug at your trousers and start like reaching up, thinking she's missing out on something. So eventually you just give in sometimes, and you pop her up on the side next to you while she's doing the washing up, and she fucking loves it. She's grabbing a sponge. She's grabbing the little Dishmatic fucking thing. She's fucking touching the bubbles. She's fucking loving it. And it's because she thinks we're interested in it. She thinks we're interested in doing the washing up, which we are, because we need it to be done. But she doesn't see it as a grueling task. She doesn't see it as a job that needs to be done. She sees it as playtime. Playtime in the sink. That's what she thinks it is. And it's because we're showing an interest in it. And if we showed an interest in our phones, whether that be a positive interest or a negative interest, and it's an interest nonetheless, and she's going to want that phone. So if you just act like it's nothing, she's going to think it's nothing. And it's just like society with the fucking guns. If you're constantly trying to fucking hide them and fucking take them away and fucking... It's the same. People can be like, That's my take on it anyway. I think it's just pointless. I think it's just pointless. People got too much fucking time on their hands. You've got teams of people fucking editing James Bond thumbnails to take the fucking gun out of it. You know what I mean? Wasted time if you ask me. But anyway, that's all I've got time for today. And I'll see you next week for yet another invigorating episode of the Kill a Bit of Time podcast. Thanks for returning. Thanks for listening. And have a great week. Have a great week. Get your Christmas shopping done now, because you don't want it hanging over you. Just fucking go out and do it. I know it's shit. Just fucking do it. Just bite the bullet and go and do it. You know, it doesn't have to be that good. Make some pickled onions or something like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's it. I'm not going to leave you today with this random little bit I did here. Bye. So they took away James Bond's gun. The thumbnail looks a bit strange. Netflix is under the thumb, as we barely notice the change. The gradual process is easy to miss, like training a baby not to feed from the tit. 50 is past since a slap on the ass. was an acceptable form of behavior from Sean. The censorship flame is a burning, societal landscape is turning. Where will it lead and what star might belong? And where in the hell will the koalas go? Where they gonna go? Killed a bit of time, didn't it? You know what I mean? See you in a bit.